So right now our application has the ability to create new documents. So if I already added some filler text here, and if, by the way, you want filler text, hips or ipsum is a great way to get it. And then I also added a document. This is the third document I'm creating. So when I click create document, it gives us this error. And we've already seen this before. It's a template is missing error, which means that there is no show page here to display the content that we just created. And if you see here, this is document 3. This is the ID that we'll be using to display that document to the user when they want it. So let's go ahead and work on the controller and work on creating view files for the show page and also the index page. So let's go into our Sublime Text Editor. This show page, I should say the show action and the index action is what we want to work on. Right now we also don't have a view file for these two actions. So let's actually go ahead and create at least the show. So let's go show.html.haml. Let's save this. So what do we want here? We want to display the title for the document and also the content itself. So let's do an H1. This will be the title. So it'll be at doc.title. And let's also do P, and this is going to be at doc.content. And if you've noticed, this has not been defined yet, at least for our show action. So let's save this. If you go into our show action, you'll see that our app doesn't know what at doc means for the show action. So let's save this. Let's go back into our browser and refresh, and we'll get a new error here, which is that it doesn't identify what at doc is. So we actually need to define this in the action. Let's go back into our editor, into the controller, and let's define it for show. So it's at doc equals doc.find, and they're going to find it by the params ID. And as I explained earlier, the params for the document we just created is 3. So it's going to go fetch it from the database and then display, at least as we requested, the title and then the content of that document. So let's save this. But the issue, and this is actually Rails convention, is that when you have something that you're going to reuse over and over again, it makes sense to, in our case, put it in a private method, because this is asking to find the document that we want to display by its params ID. And finding the document is something we have to do when we edit that document later on. It's something we have to do when we update it. It's also something we have to do to destroy it. To delete a document, you must first find that document you want to destroy. So let's actually copy this to avoid repetition later on. Let's put it here, find doc. We actually don't need it here now anymore, so we can delete this. But we also need to add a before action. So here, we're going to go before action. A before action, by the way, just runs ahead of all the other actions or methods on the controller. So we want the find doc private method to run, and we will only want it for show, we want it for edit, we want it for update, and we want it for destroy. We don't want it for index, for example, or even new and create, because to create a new document does not require you to find that document. That doesn't make sense. So this limits it only to these 4 actions, and it works this way. So let's save this. We can go back into our browser and let's refresh. So we've already created this is the view file for that third document. This is the params ID, which is 3. That's how it's fetching it. And this is the content. This is the title of that document. So our show page works. This is excellent. Now let's begin working on the index page. So let's say you want to list all the documents. So instead of docs/3, let's just go to docs, which is where we want to list all the documents. And again, we have this error of template is missing. This is telling us that the view file for the index action does not exist. So let's go back into our editor, and we need to work here on the index action itself, but also we need to create an index view file that corresponds to that action. Let's save this as index.html.haml. Let's save this. So on our index page, it's going to be slightly different. We want to loop through all the documents. So it's going to be docs, each do, and then we want to display for each document, that is. So we're going to display the title or actually a link to the title, so that we go to the show page for that post. So be link to, and then it's going to be the doc title, and then this is going to take us to the doc itself. And then right underneath that, we also want to display how long ago the post or document was created. So in our case, it's going to be time ago in words, and this is going to be the doc.created at. And where is this coming from? This is actually interesting. It's coming from, if we go back into the database, if you go into our the timestamps. The timestamps gives us an idea of when a document was created and when it was updated. And we're now requesting this for our app, and it's going to display it here on the index page. So it's time ago in words doc.created at, and also right underneath here, this is actually optional. I just created it because I prefer it. I want a small snippet of text from the body, so that it gives us an idea of what the content is within the document without having to go back and forth. So we'll say truncate, which is essentially asking for a snippet of that document, content, and we only want, say, the first 50 characters. So let's save this. Let's go back into our browser and see if if the error here has changed. Excellent. So now we haven't defined @docs. And if you've noticed, @docs is different from @doc. So it's asking us for this, @docs, which is plural because there are many documents. We worked on @doc for new, for show, for edit, for update, for destroy, but now we need to define it in the index action as well. And here it's going to be @files, file.all, and we want to order this by when they were created. So it's going to be created at DESC, and this is it's asking the application to order it in descending order. So let's actually do this in double quotes just to be consistent. So we're asking our application to order this in order of when it was created. So you're going to have the newest documents at the very top, and you're going to have the oldest documents at the very bottom. So it just helps us that way. It's great for visuals. So let's save this, and let's go back into our browser and refresh. So it says files. Actually, I have no idea where we did files for. It's supposed to be docs, and it's doc. Let's save this. Let's go back into our browser and refresh. Excellent. So we have the title of the document, we have when it was created, we also have the first 50 characters. So instead of clicking on third document to see what's inside it, you get a small idea, a quick snapshot of what's inside that document. This is great. So let's actually go back into our terminal now, and let's do git status. Let's do git add all. Let's git commit with the message, and this is going to be add docs views and define actions. Perfect.